You think you can conquer the temple of the gods, do you?
You know what's better than being a demigod? Being a demigod who's really good at smashing things. And that's exactly what Kratos does in the God of War trilogy. Kratos is like the Incredible Hulk if the Incredible Hulk had a bad attitude with a pair of mean-looking blades. He's got more rage than a teenage metalhead and he's not afraid to use it.
This is your purpose. Die with honor.
The entire original trilogy is packed with memorable moments from rocking the boat in the first game
Nice.
to getting smacked around by Perseus' sack in the second, to engaging in an epic clash against the Divine in the trilogy's cinematic finale. And through it all, Kratos never loses his edge.
That is where you are wrong.
Or his willingness to decapitate anything that gets in his way.
Get over here!
But the God of War trilogy isn't just about mindless violence, it's also a story of revenge, betrayal, and redemption. Kratos actually has a tragic past that involves family and a lot of angry gods. He's like a Shakespearean character if Shakespeare wrote about a guy who liked to rip off heads, a real Titus Andronicus, if you will. Kratos may be a one-man demolition team, but even he has a few divine favors to get the job done right. He has allies and enemies, friends and foes, and a complicated family history that shapes his actions throughout the trilogy. The immersive feeling of the game is also amplified by the epic music and dynamic environments, which add to the sense of being transported to a mythological world. And with top-notch voice acting and motion capture performances, you can't help but care about Kratos in this world, even as you're hacking your way through it with his blades. Oh yeah, let's not forget about the box challenge. If I had long hair, I would have been pulled it out on stream. I died more times trying to move a box than I did fighting half the gods in Olympus. But I guess that's like the fun of God and War. You know, the challenges are difficult, but once you conquer them, what a great feeling of achievement. So if you're looking for a game that lets you unleash your inner rage and become a god-slaying badass, look no further than the God of War trilogy. It's like the ultimate therapy for your anger issues, and way more fun than just screaming into a pillow. Alright folks, let's take it back to 2005 when the world was blessed with the epicness that is God of War. Developed by Santa Monica Studios and published by Sony Computer Entertainment, this game kicked off one of the most legendary video game franchises of all time. Except if you're like me and played mostly Xbox, and now, 20 years later, you're now discovering the epicness that is God of War. The story of God of War is a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. Kratos, a Spartan warrior, has been cursed by the gods and he's seeking revenge against Ares, the God of War, for tricking him into killing his own family. Seriously, what a jerk move. I mean, did Ares really need to go that far to prove a point? It's a quest that will take Kratos across the ancient world, battling monsters and gods, and ultimately ascending to the throne of gods himself. Not too shabby for a guy with anger management issues, huh? The gameplay of God of War is a mix of fast-paced combat, platforming, and puzzle solving. Wielding the blades of chaos, chained blades attached to his arms, which he used to slice and dice and dismember his foes. The combat is fluid, satisfying, and has a real weight to it. Every hit feels like it has an impact, but it's not just about mashing buttons. Kratos also has a range of moves and combos that require a degree of skill and timing to pull off properly. And let's just say sometimes I have to remind myself what buttons do what, but that's the fun part, right? But Kratos just isn't a hack and slash kind of guy. He's got skills that will make even Indiana Jones jealous. With magic spells to electrocute enemies and unleash a firestorm, his impressive double jump and wall climbing abilities to navigate the environment, he's like a Swiss Army knife of destruction. And let's not forget the puzzles. They're challenging enough to keep you engaged, but not so hard that you want to break your controller. Or you might want to break your controller. Actually, I think I broke mine. But let's be real. The boss battles are where God of War really flexes its muscles. Each one is like a big budget Hollywood blockbuster, with Kratos taking on some of the most iconic creatures of Greek mythology. I mean, I had to climb a giant titan for 3 days to find Pandora's box. And don't even get me started on the final battle with Ares. Talk about epic. Now, the ending of God of War is bittersweet, with Kratos finally destroying Ares and becoming the God of War. He's still haunted by his past memories. And you know what? Screw Athena, because she promised him in the beginning of the game that he was gonna be free, and now he's just non-stop torment. Anyway, it's a fitting end to the game that's all about consequences of anger and the cost of vengeance.
I was trying to make you a great warrior. You succeeded.
Now, God of War 2 is the follow-up game, obviously.
Obvious.
It's like the first game, but better in every way. There's more mechanics, enemies, the environment looks insane. Some might say it's the greatest God of War game ever made today, but hey, I don't want to start any arguments. Let me know down in the comments. And don't worry, after I finish every God of War game, I'm going to definitely rank from highest to lowest what I think. I have to finish them all before I do that. Now, God of War 2 picks up where the first game left off. Having ascended to the godhood, Kratos has become arrogant and overconfident. He defies the gods and challenges Zeus himself, leading to his betrayal and downfall. Stripped of his godhood and his weapons, Kratos must once again journey across the ancient world, battling monsters and gods and seeking revenge against Zeus. Now, the gameplay is similar to the first game, with a mix of fast-paced combat, platforming, and puzzle solving. Kratos now wields the Blades of Athena, a more powerful version of the Blades of Chaos that can be upgraded and customized with new abilities. The combat is even more fluid and satisfying than before, with new moves and combos to master. With all the new mechanics and abilities, it really adds a layer of depth and variety to the gameplay. Every boss battle in this game is literally a cinematic masterpiece, with Kratos taking on some of the most iconic characters in Greek mythology. From battling the massive Colossus of Rhodes at the start of the game to facing off against the mighty Zeus himself, the game will keep you on the edge of your seat. And let's just say, some of these battles may have taken me a few tries, or maybe more than a few. I mean, who else died 20 times fighting Colossus of Rhodes, or 59 times trying to beat the annoying Theseus? Just me? Okay. Now, the graphics and sound design are just as impressive as the first game. The environments are even more detailed and varied, with locations ranging from ancient ruins of Greece to the depths of the underworld. And let's not forget about the music, which perfectly complements the game's action story with its epic and cinematic tones. I really enjoyed the ending of God of War 2. It was thrilling and just an intense sequence that set the stage for the next chapter in Kratos' story. After defeating Zeus, Kratos went for that killing blow, but accidentally, he killed Athena, causing him to spiral in despair. Kratos then travels back into time to bring the Titans from the past into the present to mount an assault on Mount Olympus. Like, what? What a thrilling conclusion that perfectly sets up God of War 2. That's literally so freaking cool.
Zeus, your son has returned. I bring the destruction of Olympus.
Overall, God of War 2 is more than a worthy successor, to say the least. Now, the ultimate finale to Kratos' rampage through the Greeks' Pantheon, released in 2010 for the PS3, this game cranks up the epicness to 11. You'll be fighting titans, gods, and anything that dares cross Kratos' path. God of War 3 picks up directly where the second game left off. These are my favorite type of openings. The game begins with a jaw-dropping set piece as Kratos rides the back of Gaia, battling hordes of enemy and dodging obstacles. It's a thrilling introduction that sets the stage for an epic battle to come. The gameplay in God of War 3 is like a roller coaster ride, but instead of a seatbelt, you have the Blades of Exile in your hand. The combat is so fast and fluid that you'll feel like a ballet dancer on steroids. Speaking of steroids, Kratos has even more aerial moves and combats to unleash on his enemies. Oh, and the Battle of Hercules is a sight to behold, as Kratos literally beats him to a bloody pulp. It's a great example of the game's over-the-top violence and also a reminder that it's not always about the size. Heyo! The ending of God of War 3 is a fitting conclusion to the Kratos story, with epic battles and emotional moments that will leave you breathless. After finally defeating Zeus and the other gods, Kratos decides to end his own life, kind of like how the first game started. But just as he's about to off himself, he realizes that he accidentally brought hope back to the world. Talk about a mood swing. It may feel a little weird compared to the brutal fighting we've seen so far, but hey, Kratos has to mix things up once in a while, right? I guess. Now, it's not just the gameplay and story that makes God of War 3 such a great game. The game's graphics and sound are also top-notch. The game's visuals are some of the best on the PlayStation 3, with incredible detailed character models. The environment looks even better, and special effects all over the place. And the game's music, once again, is epic and cinematic, perfectly capturing the scale and emotion of the game's stories and battles. Look, all these hold up so well, and I have zero attachment to nostalgia. I'm playing these for the first time at the end of 2022, 2023, on the original PS2 and the PS3 consoles. And they look amazing. They look great. They play great. I'm just like, these are amazing, dude. I hate playing on the PlayStation stream. I have a PS5. It's not that I don't have a PS5. I have a PS5. Playing games, streaming them just isn't the same as playing them on the original console. Emulating games is not the same as playing them on the original console. Playing them on the original console, everything's so fluid, buttery smooth. I'm currently playing God of War Ascension on the PS5, streaming it, and there's so many stutters and it drives me crazy. So if you do get a chance to play the original God of War trilogy and you do happen to have a PS2, PS3, definitely get them. Definitely play them because they're freaking awesome. So let me know, what's your favorite God of War game? I'm gonna go ahead and finish Ascension and then jump over to the PSP games, and then finally the 2018-2022 version of Kratos. I'm excited to play those. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, smash a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.